Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. So here I got my Beaver Rockwell table saw. Picked this up from a friend a couple of years ago. He inherited it. It's been in a barn. Has been used. It did come with a motor. Motor's all fine, but it's been in a barn and needs a good cleaning. And another thing that needs to be dealt with is the gear for lifting up and down the saw blade. It's gunked up or worn out. Very common with this model. So I'm basically going to be tearing this down and cleaning it up and giving it, back to really good working condition. So let's start doing the teardown. Okay, so I got the top off the base. Now I'm just wondering what you guys think. Obviously, the base needs some cleaning, but should I repaint it? Should I just do an oil treatment on it? What do you guys think? Okay, so now it's time to work on this guy. Okay, so what controls the height, which is what is causing, it's a little sluggish. It's this gear, and then there's teeth down here, and I have put some penetrating oil on it, and I'm just gonna clean up the teeth with a little wire brush and get all the sawdust and any old grime off as much as I can. And really, this was in decent condition where taking it to this far, I haven't used any penetrating oil. Now, I have put some penetrating oil on some of the joints now. Let it soak in a little bit, just so I can get some stuff moving. Now, looking at this gear looks actually pretty good, and the teeth don't look too bad on here, so I'm thinking it's just gunked up, or the pivot has actually just seized a little bit. So I got some penetrating oil on the pivot, and just gonna go around and wire wheel all this, and then try and get that off. Okay, as you can see, I took out the main part. This pin here that this pivots on, this is really stuck in the unit and it wasn't budging while it was attached. So I have it sitting here on my vise, kind of upright, got some penetrating oil on it. So hopefully that will go down and start moving that. Yeah, but I'm also noticing there's a little bit of roughness in the bearings for the blade itself. So I'm gonna pull off the pulley and see if I can get that out. Okay, so I got the pin finally out. Took a little bit of penetrating oil and just slowly tapping it. So, I can see why it was seized up. So now I got that off, and I'm probably gonna set this aside for now. Ooh, that was not planned. So I'm gonna put this aside and I'm gonna deal with the shaft. So on the main shaft, we have a lovely key at the end. And that's it right there. Let's see if I can zoom you in a little bit. And that is actually a half moon. A half moon key. And to get those out, to get those out, you're just going to first take a punch closest to the back of the shaft, and you're just going to hit down that key, and what's going to happen is this front end is going to pick up. Now once you get the back end close to flush with the bottom, you can either get a screwdriver in here or a pair of side cutters, and you should be able to lift up that front. And then there's the key. So now I'm gonna press out this so I can see what bearings we have. Now because I know I'm not gonna save these bearings, I'm just gonna tap it out with a hammer. Okay, so eventually I did get that one pulley off. Sorry, one bearing off the top with a puller. And now this bottom one, it looks like just a spring clip in the bottom. Take off. There we go. And then this one, we'll have to get that off. How easy would that be to pry off? I don't know. So as I contemplate how I'm going to actually remove that one, yeah. Okay, I finally got the bearings off. One actually split right open. It took a little bit of heat and a lot of force and patience, but I finally got it off. So, there's the shaft. Everything else is pretty well broken down as far as I'm going to. Here's actually the teeth on this is what I was worried about. You think I can get that focused? No. But they look pretty good. I am missing the top tooth there, but they look pretty good, so I'm not going to worry about it. And the same thing with the worm gear. It's looking okay, so I'm not going to worry about that. Do have new bearings getting ordered. So everything else is just basically, I'm going to soak a little bit in penetrating oil, wire wheel it, and clean it up a little bit. Now onto the tabletop. I actually have that soaking over here in penetrating oil. And I'm just going to let that soak a little bit longer. Going to take a little bit of Scotch-Brite, wipe it down, coat it again, and just try and get most of that loose rust and clean it up a little bit. So that's going to be the next thing I tackle. So, day 2 of this. Had the table soaking overnight in WD-40, and now I'm gonna go with a little bit more power on the scrubbing. So I'm just taking my scrub pad and palm sander. So I'm not gonna put a lot of pressure, and I'm just gonna go back and forth with light pressure on it, just to loosen up that rust a little bit more, because this is actually quite rusty. Now I'm using just some degreaser on here, just to clean off all the oil, wipe it down, and then I get to put the WD-40 back on it. Okay, so I've gone over the table a couple of times, and it's getting there. Still, I think a couple more times over it with the Scotch-Brite to finish it off. Still a little bit of rusty spots here and there, but I'm gonna move on. I had these little parts soaking in vinegar overnight just to loosen up the rust and all that. And these are just basically nuts and bolts. And I'm just gonna hit it with a wire wheel, loosen up any of the rust. Anything that is not really coming off, I'm gonna just take upstairs to the wire wheel and really get it cleaned off. But we'll see how things go. Okay, some of the bigger pieces that I can't like soak in vinegar, I'm gonna actually use an angle grinder with a wire cup to actually take off as much of the rust I can. Now for the aluminum, hand crank things, I'm not gonna go crazy and polishing in them. I'm just gonna take some steel wool, has a little bit of WD-40 on it, and I'm just gonna take off most of the corrosion that's on the outside. Just buff them a little bit, but not bring them to a really bright shine. Okay, so now that I got most of the cast iron pieces cleaned up and all that, they've been degreased. I'm just gonna take some linseed oil and I'm just gonna coat this with linseed. I'm gonna make sure, I'm not gonna actually put any linseed oil on the shafts that I know something's gonna go on, or inside any hole, but all the bare metal that I have exposed now on the outside is gonna get the linseed oil. And I'm just gonna brush it on, let it sit for a couple of minutes, and then I'm just gonna wipe it off. Okay, it's been a few minutes now. I'm just gonna wipe it down. Making sure I'm putting all the rags that have oil on it into this paint can. And this paint can is gonna leave at the end of the day and go into my fire pit. Well, not the paint can, the rags in it. Okay, so I got a couple more parts to oil up, as you can tell. Now, I was expecting my bearings today, but they're actually not coming in until tomorrow, or possibly really late today. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to finish this today. And that's okay, because if you notice, I haven't touched the base yet. I'm leaving that because it's pretty gross, with caked on sawdust and all that. So still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with that. If I'm going to just do, clean the rust off a little bit and, oil it up, or if I'm going to actually paint it. Not too sure. What do you guys think? Okay. So I'm going to finish oiling up all the rest of the parts and just call it a video here. So thank you guys for watching, and the second half of this will be finishing it up. Okay. See you guys later.